parts of the capitalistic system can be leveraged to cause large change to people's diets?
Oh my, what a wonderful question. Because we certainly need large scale change on people's diets, but we're dealing with human beings and they like the taste they like and the foods that they've become familiar with, and trying to get individuals to change, let alone society to change, is like trying to turn an ocean liner. It's quite a task there. So, what would us human society folks respond to? Well, the clink of money is a powerful charm and motivator of many people. And I think there are ways that if the political will was there, you absolutely could use the flow of money to motivate people to start eating healthy. I'm going to talk about some things that are really practically happening in Washington in a few minutes here, but an idea I've had for a long time that I think would just revolutionize our society on so many levels and save so many lives and get us as a truly healthy society is this. Everyone pays income taxes every April 15th, and we want to pay as little as possible to the government if possible. And you would like the government to be a positive, benign force in society here. Well, here's the formula that I think would work exquisitely to accomplish that. In the time before April 15th, from January 15th, the next 90 days, you are invited to go down to your favorite pharmacy or any place where there's one of those minute clinics, the urgent care, but your local urgent care clinic, but any place with that kind of facility. You don't even need to see a doctor, just need a nurse or a technician there. You walk in and she registers you and you step on a scale. If you're not more than 5 pounds over your ideal body weight on the chart, take 5% off your income tax. She's going to then have you sit down, check your blood pressure. If your blood pressure is below 140/80, take another 5% off your income tax. She's going to stick your finger, and if your cholesterol level is below 190 or 180, take another 5% off your income tax. She'll check your hemoglobin A1C. If that's below 6, take another 5% off. And finally, she'll have you urinate into a cup. She's not looking there. And put a little dipstick, and she's looking for a chemical called cotinine, which is the metabolite of nicotine when people are smokers. And if there's no cotinine in your urine, take another 5% off. And so right away, just for maintaining a healthy weight, blood pressure, cholesterol level, blood sugar level, and being a non-smoker, easily verified, she gives you a little check there and registers in the computer and say, attach this to your income tax return. And boom, you can drop people's income tax by 20%, 30%. The motivation, I think, would be very powerful, and the money the government would save. There'd be so many less bypasses and ICU admissions and all that. Even though the government may see a little lower income tax coming in, they would pay out so much less because the people be truly healthy. So if he's asking your way, how can we make the capitalist system work for us to eat healthier? Boy, I think that would be a great way. And of course, the nurse would give you a handout on whole food, plant-based eating. So here's what you ought to be eating here. And in fact, and there might be programs, eat this way for 60 days and come on back. And if you've improved, we'll motivate you even more with more discounts. So there's one way, and again, it's a fantasy of mine, but not that practical to do. If the political will is there, we absolutely can do that. In the real world, what's happening now? Well, in Washington, D.C., every 2 years, whatever, up comes the Farm Bill. And the Farm Bill is this mega billion-dollar appropriation that Congress has to approve. And it ostensibly, supports agriculture to protect the farmers, to make sure that they always make enough profit to stay in business. But rolled in with that is all sorts of things. There's some good things. The WIC program that gives food to the folks who can't afford it. even though it's this, the worst of the food is the meat and the cheese and the surplus stuff that they can't pawn off in the school children. Being a little cynical there, but it's USDA excess, the Department of Agriculture excess. So that's in there as well. And fair enough. But because it's Washington and big money's involved, in comes the agribusiness folks and the meat and dairy industry. And they have enough influence with the congressmen and the senators to make sure that multi-billions of dollars of subsidies go to the soybean farmers and the feed corn farmers to lower their costs. So as they shovel down these millions of tons of corn and soybeans into the gullets of pigs and cows and chickens, the cost to the meat producer is lower because of our tax dollars, and that in turn allows McDonald's to sell a $1.50 hamburger when it really, if all the costs for the feed and the water and the pollution mitigation and the soil erosion and the greenhouse gases and all that were factored in there, that burger would cost $40. But due to all the subsidies in the Farm Bill, the pork, if you will, the economics are skewed to keep the meat relatively cheap. But the broccoli farmers, they don't get much at all. So what to do? Well, the folks in Washington think nobody's really looking, and the public doesn't care. Well, I've urged people to start looking and starting to care. It's a massive bill, and no one's asking you to get into the weeds of the Farm Bill legislation, but there are people doing it for you. And I urge you to do a search on this lovely organization called the AFA, the Agricultural Fairness Alliance. The AFA, maybe we'll put it in the show notes here. And these are folks fighting the good fights. They're official lobbyists in Washington, and they knock on the senators' doors and they get conferences with the legislators. But they're on the side of plant-based agriculture. They want the subsidies going to the broccoli farmers, et cetera, for reforestation. And we want to take money that would just, instead of going to the soybean farmers, et cetera, it's time for the soybean farmers to do something else with that land, to grow vegetables for people, to let the forest come back, to grow industrial hemp, to do something else with that land besides feed corn and soybeans for animal flesh. And so the AFA has a transition program to help farmers and ranchers do something else with the land, so they can get out of that tunnel that my granddaddy's been raising cattle here for 100 years. I'm not going to, that's what I do. Well, it's time to do something else with that land, and we can help these people. They're not the enemy. They're growing our food. So there's a number of programs the AFA is associated with. Help these people, send them to night school in the community college, let them learn to grow new crops, buy their equipment for them, buy their seeds for them, give them crop insurance for 10 years, send their kids to college, put internet in everybody's house, help these people, pay the mortgage on their house for 10 years, lift them up and put them into a new type of relationship with the land and with food production. That would be a great use of capitalism that way. So those are my suggestions. Keep the income tax deductions in mind. I think that'll be a very powerful tool. But if that isn't on the horizon here, support the AFA, the Agricultural Fairness Alliance, and let your congressman know. Write your congressman saying, "I understand the Farm Bill is coming up for reauthorization. I want you to know that I'm opposed to having my tax dollars spent on subsidizing slaughter industries and eco-destructive industries. I want the Farm Bill restructured so plant-based agriculture gets more of the subsidies and funds are appropriated to help remediate the damage that animal agriculture causes." If our senators and congressmen start getting 20, 30 letters like that every day, they might start looking at the Farm Bill authorization in a different way. So let the congressman know how you feel and how your money's getting spent. If we do that, if enough people do it, Now, hopefully, we'll start changing what we're being fed in both in the information stream as well as in the restaurants and the supermarket as well. A plant-based future is ours for the asking. We just need to ask for it.
Absolutely. Was a wonderful answer. That's great advice and a great idea. So fingers crossed that that could happen in the future, but that's some great stuff that people can do now. So thank you so much, Dr. Clapper. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.
See you next time. Hi, everyone. Dr. Michael Klaper here, announcing our new format for our Q&A with Dr. K. Annie Hagen will be asking me one question that's been sent in by our viewers. So if you want to see if your question is getting answered, do join us for our Q&A with Dr. K right here. Hope to see you then.